Hello everyone, it's Mr. Thompson with a video math lesson. This time talking about simple interest. I think you'll find it's quite simple, hence the name. Okay, we're just going to start off with an example here. Okay, you might see advertised around savings accounts from banks. Okay, or if you look at their websites and things like that, you can find them. And the main thing that they'll advertise is what their interest rate is. Okay. Now, most banks will not use simple interest. They'll use what's called compound interest. But I'm not going to talk about that. We'll start with the simple stuff. Okay, so they'll say something like 5% PA simple interest. Okay, now this PA stands for the words per annum. Okay, which just mean per year. Okay, so annum is like annual. Okay, per year. Okay, so let's say you deposit into this bank account $100. It's a nice, easy number. Each year, your bank is going to pay you some money, some interest. They're going to give you money for keeping your money there. Okay. Now, the way this is figured out is you take the 5% and you find 5% of 100. So each year, they pay you 5% times 100, right? And so you get $5 every year. If you keep it in for 2 years, then guess what? You have 2 times 5, which is 10. Okay. Now, if you're thinking, but wait, doesn't that $5 go back in and then you get interest on that? Well, that's what compound interest is. Okay. So if you want to learn about that, you can Google that or request for me to make a video on that, and maybe I will in the comments. Okay. So this is simple interest. So you get $10. That's your interest after 2 years. Okay, at 5% simple interest with your $100 in there. Okay, assuming you didn't put any more in or anything. Now, each of these pieces, okay, we've got kind of 4 things here. We've got this 5%. All right, that was important. All right, that is our interest rate. Okay, and we call that R. We use the letter R to represent that. Okay, we have our original deposit, which is called the principal. Okay, or P. And we have the amount of time that was put in. Okay, it was 2 years. All right, it's usually in years. When we plug it into to figure stuff out, we need to use the time in years. Okay, so if somebody tells you the months, then you need to convert that to years and so on. And then we have our interest payment, the amount of interest earned. Okay, which we use I. Oh, and T for time. Not sure if I said that. I for interest. Okay, so there's a formula here. Okay, the formula for simpler interest is simply I equals P times R over 100 times T. Okay, now I always kind of think R over 100 is a little bit redundant because it's R percent, which means R over 100, but you'll notice back here, I just circled the 5. Okay, so we kind of take the percent out. The interest rate is just the number there. Okay, so you know, the R over 10, R over 100 kind of puts the percent back in there. Don't ask me why they don't just say R percent, but that's the way we do it. Okay, that's the way it's commonly written. Times T, which is time. Okay, and of course, all these things are these different things we've talked about. I is the interest we've earned, which is basically just how much money you earn from the bank. P is the principal or original amount that you deposited. R is that interest rate. Okay, it's usually expressed as a percentage. And T is time. Okay, again, we need to make sure we have the right units of time. So when interest rate is per annum, then we need to put in time in years, right? So let's look at an example. Okay, $2,000 is invested for 30 months at 7% per annum, simple interest. Find the interest earned. Okay, so here's our formula. Now we don't know the interest yet, right? That's what we need to find. Okay, so we're not going to put any numbers in for that. We're just going to put I. But for the rest of these letters, we're going to plug in numbers and then just calculate it, right? So for P, we're going to put in what the principal is. In this case, that's $2,000. That's how much we invested. That's how much we deposited. So we put 2,000 down here. Okay, R is our interest rate. So this time, in this case, it's 7. All right, so 7 over 100. Okay, times T. Okay, now we don't want to put 30 because 30 is months. Okay, so how many years is 30 months? Well, there's 12 months in a year, so 30 divided by 12 is 2.5. Okay, 2.5 years. Now what I do first is I cancel off, I have zeros on the bottom, zeros on the top, so I cancel off 2 zeros on each one, and I'm going to do 7, it's all multiplication, so we just do, it doesn't really matter what order we do it in actually. So, but I'm going to do 7 times 20, okay, which is 140, and I'll bring down my times 2.5, and then 140 times 2.5 is 350, okay, so that's our interest earned, and that's the answer. Okay, one more example here. $2,000 again is invested. At this time it's 5% PA, 5% per annum, and at a simple interest, and that earns $425 of interest. Okay, it earns $425. How many months was it invested for? Okay, so here's our formula, and we're going to plug some numbers in here from the problem into this formula. Now this time we do know the interest. It's $425, so we put 425 there for where the I was. P, the principal, is 2,000. Rate this time is 5%. Okay, and this time we don't know the time. We don't know the time, so that's what we're trying to find: is how many months was it invested for? Okay, so we're just going to leave that as T. Okay, once again, I'll copy the problem down. I'll simplify. Okay, get rid of some zeros here, and then I have 5 times 20, which is 100, and then I bring down my t, which for some reason I forgot to do in blue, but that's okay. Okay, so I have 100 times t, and I want to find out what t is, so I want to get t by itself. It's being multiplied by 100, so to get t by itself, I'm going to divide by 100. If I divide on one side, I have to divide on the other. Okay, so the hundreds cancel out on the right, and I'm left with just t. And over here, I divide by 100. And when you divide by 100, you simply move the decimal point over. My dollar signs, actually, if you'll note, I've kept my dollar signs everywhere they're meant to go, and they actually cancel out here. Okay, don't know if you knew this, but you can cancel dollar signs. Okay, here's our decimal point, and we're going to move it 2 places because we're dividing by 100, and we get 4.25. That equals t. But t here is in years. We are asked how many months it was invested for. So we're going to multiply by 12 this time, and 4.5 times 12, 4.25 times 12 is 51. So 51 months. Okay, so there's simple interest for you. Good luck. See you next time.